94.7 is KWKQ-FM, Graham, Breckenridge.
Travis is a sports encyclopedia with a mind like a scientist and an arm like a cannon. Rick is a former Mime Golden Voice broadcasting psycho. And Joe is a free-willing wild card with zero sports knowledge to speak of. Together, they make the crew of Offsides. Now on Q94.7. Brought to you by The Oil Pit, D&J's Polaris, Womack Construction, and Texoma Foam Insulation Services.
All righty, good morning to you right here on your Lincoln Leader, Q94.7. Getting it going, getting it real, and making it happening from downtown Graham as another episode of Offsides up and running.
Hello, hello.
We have Travis with us and the golden tones of Joe.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking some high school ball this morning. We're going to be talking some college, pro, and we also have public service announcement we have to discuss this morning, so that'll be coming up here in just a little bit. Glad to have you along and hope everybody is having a wonderful weekend so far. All right, last night in high school football, I will go ahead and proclaim this one of the greatest nights in high school football last night.
Yeah, Rick was really excited about last night, especially after he got to watch the shows and come in the morning and just kind of had an overall look at everything. So I'm excited to hear, your thoughts on everything that went down last night.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those nights where it was kind of a nasty night around North Texas. A lot of folks braved the elements to get out last night. It was
sure.
It was a little cool out.
A few games got canceled.
Postponed because of the weather. Most of it had to do with field maintenance nowadays.
Yeah.
There wasn't much thunder and lightning or
no, it really
any
was just
threat.
rain, I think, for most of the area. But at the same time, especially teams that still play on grass.
Right. They don't want to tear up their fields and stuff. So that was kind of going on. But great night in high school football last night. We'll be getting to those scores here in just a little bit. But last night, the 60th meeting between the Graham Steers and the Breckenridge Buckaroos, it went pretty much like we expected. The only thing out of the game that I really didn't expect to see is I didn't expect to see our starters play as deep as they did in the game.
Well, especially on the offensive side, Rick, and I know what you're talking about, but I think the coaches were looking for something, and I don't know that they ever saw it from the starters, because what did we go into the half, 38-0 or somewhere around there? And really, or I guess it was 35-0 or 34-0. Nonetheless, from there, it was really the defense that did all the scoring, or most of it. So, coming out of the half, the offense kind of slowed down. That's something I want to talk about a little later, get into on a wider scale. But some of the pieces on the offense, not people, but some of the areas of the offense kind of struggled last night, and it's kind of been going on since the second half against Wiley.
Well, a couple of things that happened last night. The passing attack in the red zone of the Graham Steers last night was a little bit inept. We didn't see that sharpness that we have been seeing a lot of. And another thing we saw a lot last night, and Coach Merritt, I know he'll be the first one to come up and say something about it. We had some holes in the offensive line last night. I'd never seen Ben Davis get sacked as much as he did last night.
Me neither. I've never seen him take those kind of hits. It seemed like every 2 or 3 plays he was taking a shot. And, a few times that's him, nothing's open downfield, so he's pulling the ball and running the ball. So, some of those were warranted. But, there were several sacks in this game and tackles behind the line of scrimmage that it's not something you want to see out of a team that you think can do great things this year.
Now, going back and talking about the passing attack, the Steers were able to throw the ball last night. I mean, don't say that they weren't. I mean, they were able to throw the ball, but a lot of those passes came across the middle, downfield, slant passes, things like that were going on. And a lot of it probably had to do with maybe a wet ball last night. But Breckenridge, you've got to give the Buckaroos some credit last night, because on pass defense in the red zone, that bend but don't break defense was really playing well last night.
They did an excellent job in coverage. They really did. And you're right, Rick. You have to give them credit. I mean, and, you talked about the style of play that was kind of, due to the wetness and everything. when Dylan Gonzalez is your leading receiver with 111 yards, that's not a bad thing, but that's just kind of shows you that you couldn't really take the ball deep for whatever reason. Graham couldn't do that last night against Breckenridge. I don't know if it was coverage or the conditions or what, but I think that tells a lot about what kind of game it was.
Now, turning on the other side of the ball last night, the defense did another great job last night. Pitched a shutout.
Fantastic job.
The run defense for the Graham Steers, I don't know if you're going to find a better run defense anywhere in this area.
Sure. I think they gave up 112 yards of total offense and maybe, I think, 17 yards. Or, wait, no, it was closer to 50 yards at the end of the game. It was like 17 yards at the half through the air. So just a really impressive game. And you're right, Rick, though. The run defense is really what, the foundation of this defense, and they've done such a good job all year. You look at a Brownwood and a Wiley, and they're putting up the same stats as Breckenridge, which is basically nothing. So just a really fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, we were discussing this last night in the pregame. The Steers had come in defensively holding other teams to a total of 187 yards total offense per game. I mean, if you can hold a team under 200 yards total offense in any game, that's pretty amazing. And last night they did it again. I mean, we never.
Yeah, I think it was only 109 or 112 total yards of offense allowed. So you're right. Last night, do it again. That average is going to go down even a little more. So
right, and and also the giving up points. The Steers have been averaging giving up 12 points per game. I mean, you got to imagine. I mean, it's going to go back down again last night, and we'll get into this here in just a little bit. But with some of the other scores that took place last night, some of the other schools that are trying to keep pace with the Steers, because like it or not, Steers are the bar of District 5-3A.
Oh, absolutely. Target on your back. I mean, they're going to be the bar for Region 1. I mean, at least to a lot of people are going to say, hey, if we want to prove something, we've got to go beat Graham. And that's going to be going on all year. So that's something this team is just going to have to deal with.
Something, I just thought of this. Speaking of the bar, raising the bar, what the Steers have. You've been a sports writer. I mean, I know a lot of a lot of stuff is put into the AP polls and all these different polls and stuff like that. Steers set number 6 in the AP poll. Okay. In some polls, they set it number 2.
Sure.
Some polls, they set it number 4. This sort of thing. I mean, is it a big deal?
Well,
I mean, what if you're ranked between, let's say, 2 and 5? I mean, that just shows you that you're getting a lot of respect from people who are in the business.
Sure. First of all, on any level, what do power rankings really mean? You know what I mean? I mean, standings are a lot more important than rankings, right? I mean,
exactly.
As far as, who's going to be playing after the season. So, I mean, standings are really what matters. Rankings are just fun to talk about on any level, from pro to college to, except for college, they matter for some reason.
Right.
But, from pro to college to high school, it's really just kind of to give people something to talk about. Now, the thing that's really hard about high school football as far as rankings go is that it's really hard to judge a score for instance, Vernon and Graham have both played Breckenridge now, and I think Breckenridge might have
Breckenridge beat them 42-3.
Okay, 42-3. So Graham beat them 44-0. So, you're going to see that and say Graham is maybe just a tad bit better than Vernon, if not better at all, But I don't think that's really the case. I think Graham's quite a bit better than Vernon. I mean, in all these games, you don't know when starters are getting out of the game. You don't know when teams have decided to pull off the gas pedal a little bit and kind of just stick to the running game, run out the clock. There are a lot of circumstances that come into each and every game. So comparing this team versus this team, especially at the high school level, I think is a bad thing to do. But that's kind of how polls are organized, combined with the talent you have, what you did in past seasons with certain talent. So, yeah, it's a mix of things, but it's really hard to gauge.
We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and I'm going to let Joe and Travis put on their coaching hat, okay? Joe, you're going to be an offensive coach. Travis is going to be a defensive coach, and we got something to discuss. So stick around here on Offsides. So we're going to hear from a couple of our sponsors. Don't go away.
It's factory authorized clearance spots at D&J's Polaris. Now's your chance to save up to $1,000 and receive 2.99% financing through September 30th. Save on Polaris Ranger, the absolute best side-by-side utility vehicles in the industry, or the Polaris Sportsman ATV. It's all waiting for you at D&J's Polaris, Southview at Elm and Graham. Now with up to $1,000 savings and financing as low as 2.99. ATVs and side-by-side vehicles can be hazardous to operate. Polaris adult models for ages 16 and over. Always wear a helmet and be sure to take a training course. Polaris ATVs and side-by-side vehicles are not intended for on-road use. Financing is approved credit.
Maximize your greatest investment with the best insulation and roofing products available. Texoma Foam Insulation Services offers these benefits of ThermoSeal insulation. Reduce your energy bills. Enjoy cleaner and healthier indoor air. Improve your home's value and enjoy consistent temperatures. To discover more from ThermoSeal Insulation of the future, call Texoma Foam Insulation Services today at 940-549-3626 or visit their website at texomafoam.com.
You're listening to Offsides with Rick, Joe, and Travis on Q 94.7.
All right, we're back with Offsides. I want to thank our sponsors, the Oil Pit, Womack Construction, Texoma Foam, and D&J Polaris, as we keep it rolling here on your Offsides. All right, we're going to roll over here for Joe for just a second. Okay, Joe, you're the offensive coach of the Graham Steers. I'm a defense. I mean, how do I stop the Graham Steer offense? What do I got to do?
You know, I think the biggest thing, just looking at, again, not only last year, but this year as well, I think you have to make an attempt to make Graham one-dimensional. You know, they have a really excellent running game, great passing game, but if you can take away one of those, you know, if you can take away, for example, Dylan Gonzalez, and make it to where he's not going to run all over you, and just leave it to Ben's arm. Not that that's a good thing to do by any means, because Ben will beat you deep. He'll beat you across the middle for sure. But if you can make them one-dimensional, you maybe have a chance at it. The other thing possibly is just to kind of pressure them outside. We've seen that a little bit this year, of course, going into last year as well. You pressure them outside, and they don't always have a tough time with it, but Graham has shown that it takes them a little bit of time to deal with the pressure outside.
All right, Travis, same thing. You're coaching. You're the defensive coach. I'm an offense coming into the game.
Okay.
How do I set up a game plan against the Graham Steer defense?
Okay, if you're going to attack the Graham Steer defense, that's a tough thing to do. That's probably, you know, Graham's best attribute so far. I would say that if I were a coach, I'd do what a lot of teams are doing. I'd start off by hitting the short, you know, outside routes or just hitch routes right at the line of scrimmage and see if, you know, if Graham backs off and if I can get a few extra yards, you know, 4 or 5 yards per play by throwing it to the outside. Now, eventually they're gonna sit on that, and we saw that against Abilene Wiley, is that Wiley, you know, threw that hitch route, and Hagan Hughes was just standing there waiting on the ball. It was either Hagan or Dylan, or Landon, excuse me. I can't remember which one, but either way, you know, they decided, okay, we're going to give you this route a few times, and then we're going to jump on it. So you have to be aware of what the defense is doing. You know, you have to kind of see where people are going to go, but you know, as far as what the Steers do, they mostly run zone. They don't run any man. So I would just try to work with my guys all week on just finding soft spots and zones and working with my quarterback. Hey, listen, you just got to thread the needle and get it in there. Now, that's a dangerous game, especially with a lot of high school quarterbacks who have been known, you know, just in a general sense, to make poor decisions, you know, and try to throw it into a window that's not big enough for the ball to go through. But, you know, if you can work with the guy all week, I think that's, you know, your best route against this team. That being said, there's really not a lot of good ways to attack this defense. They've just been so sound. I haven't seen a lot of holes yet.
You know, it's got to be a scary thing as a coach. You know, we saw the Springtown coaches there last night. You talked to them and stuff. It's got to be a little bit frightening, or I guess I would say tough, to go to a game like last night and try to scout that game and see what the Steers are really about.
Sure, it's a tough one, and, you know, I mean, playing a 2A team doesn't help you in that department a lot as far as just trying to figure everything out, because it's, you know, it's like I said, from game to game, it's just a totally different deal in high school football, and it's hard to judge how did this team do against this team and this other team do against the same team. They're not the same games, and they don't play out the same. That being said, you've got to look for something that you can do, and you can almost guarantee that you're not going to see man defense from the Steer defense. And so that's one thing that you can kind of hang your hat on and say, okay, are we good at attacking the zone? And if we are, then maybe that can help us move the ball down the field.
All right, some of the scores last night. And I'm going to tell you what, last night was a great night in high school football. Abilene Wiley over Brownwood last night, 38-16. That sounds like a battle.
Boy, I tell you, it sounds like Brownwood is just having a tough year this year.
Yeah, they're having a tough year. Abilene Wiley rushed for 325 yards last night in that game. I mean, that's a lot of running. One that Travis and I talked about a little bit last night, probably the Graham Steers of Region 2, Argyle. The Argyle Sox last night beat Kennedale 45-7. Yeah, I said Sox. They're the Eagles, but 45-7. Argyle taking down Kennedale. That was a real deal. This one has to make you feel good. Burke Burnett last night beat Bridgeport 40-35.
As it's said all year long, we really need Burke Burnett to step up this year. Travis and I were talking a few minutes ago. Sounds like the Iowa Park Burke Burnett game is going to be a good game to watch as well. We obviously need Burke to win.
Yes, we do. This one, I have heard so much and so many times. And last night, Travis and I heard this on the way out of the ball game. Oh, my gosh, Hershey's the greatest team to walk the face of the earth all of a sudden. They're just scoring jillions of points. They're just beating down everybody. You can't stay with them. They're too fast, blah, blah, blah. A Decatur team that Graham, in a scrimmage, just schooled last night, beat Hershey 45-29.
I'm not sure. I didn't see the game. I'm not sure if the field conditions had anything to do with it. I believe Decatur has a grass field. Maybe they don't. I'm not sure. Not sure what it was, but certainly Hershey got brought back to earth a little bit.
Gainesville over Springtown last night. Gainesville Leopards. We'll be seeing Springtown next week. 41-18. Gainesville over Springtown. And another game that just proves to you that Iowa Park, or Mineral Wells, I guess not really Iowa Park. Mineral Wells really struggling. Iowa Park 52, Mineral Wells 13.
You got to wonder for Mineral Wells, are they just looking at this? I mean, they've had some injuries this year. Are they just looking at this season as, we're going to have to just start building back up again?
Well, the biggest problem Mineral Wells has is numbers. They really don't have a lot of kids coming out, and that's their biggest problem right now. I mean, a big 3A school, and you don't really have the numbers in football. It just makes it rough.
Well, it makes it rough for those kids too.
Last night, Vernon over Holiday, another 3A, 2A matchup. Holiday kind of on the downside this year. Vernon 42, Holiday 3 in that game. In 2A, Bowie beat Alvord last night 42-24. Matchup in a great game last night. Another one of the great games of the night. The Millsap Bulldogs and the Windthorst Trojans last night, 21-20.
Well, that is a close game for
Millsap coming out in that one. For my buddy Jeff Williamson over in Jim Ned Indians last night come up with a win, 21-14 over Forson.
What about Santo Wildcats? Beating up a little bit on Olney.
Yeah, we'll be getting to that one.
34-12.
That was a good one. Electra over Haskell last night. This was a big game. 45-34 in that one. The Monday Moguls beat Bront last night, 57-14. And another really close, good game. The Petrolia Pirates, 13 over Archer City, 12 in that one. Santo again over Olney, 34-12. It was Seymour last night over City View, 36-14. And we'll see today City View's coming in for some volleyball action. Also, in six-man last night, it was Chillicothe 38, Bryson 32. And in a six-man game to have that kind of score,
that's kind of a low-scoring game for a six-man.
Battle. That is a battle. Here is one of the bigger games of the night. Newcastle, number 4 in the state of Texas in the six-man, The Knox City Greyhounds, number 10 in the standings, and it was Newcastle 70, Knox City 32.
You think Knox City brought their big fan to the game?
Oh, yeah, Chad was there.
Chad was there?
Chad the super fan. He was, Chad the super fan. He was there. And
you think Chad went home and maybe cried a little bit?
Chad maybe made another YouTube video. I don't know.
Oh, boy. Go check out Chad's YouTube videos.
Yeah, if you want to go see something really, really, I won't say humorous. It's more of a, I don't know how to describe it.
More informational than anything.
Yes, it's a great informational kind of deal. Check out Chad the super fan. But Newcastle, good to go, Travis? All right. Travis, glad you're back. Newcastle 70, Knox City 32 last night.
Thanks, bud.
Okay, no problem. It was Strawn last night. Check this score out. Strawn over Looters Avoca last night, 92-56.
Man, those six-man games are fun, aren't they?
That's a lot.
They score a lot of points.
And then, not to be outdone, Throckmorton hangs 86 last night on Fort Worth Nazarene.
Yeah, do you think Strawn called Throckmorton and were like, could y'all not have scored more? We scored more.
So it was a big games last night in six-man football. Okay, we've got a few minutes here. We're going to take another break, hear from a couple of our sponsors. We're going to come back. We've got to discuss we got a public service announcement we need to discuss, because if we don't do this public service stuff, then we have to give up our radio stuff. So hang around. We're going to get your public service announcement in here, and we're going to hear from the Oil Pit and Jake Womack. Stay tuned.
It's times like, now that we need to hold on to our vehicles as long as we can. And the Oil Pit has been helping you keep your car or truck for years. Literally. The Hughes family has been working hard to keep your family on the road and safe with oil changes, transmission fluids, and fluid level and tire pressure checks. And that family tradition Tom Hughes started years ago. Stop by the Oil Pit on 4th and Graham or call 940-549-5136.
At Jake Womack Construction, Cornerstone Pools, the goal is to not only help you design and build your dream home, but to make the process easy and enjoyable for you. They're a full-service design-build company with a wide range of experience. Jake Womack can help you with all phases of new home construction or remodeling, procuring suitable land, architecture and design, building your home and landscaping your yard. Call 940-549-9944. Jake Womack Construction, helping you build your dreams.
It's Offsides with Joe, Travis, and Rick on Q94.7.
All right, we're back on Offsides right here on your Lincoln Leader, Q94.7. Big thank yous out there to Text on the Phone, Oil Pit, Jake Womack Construction, DJ Polaris. Bringing you Offsides is, we got a few minutes here, and it's time for a public service announcement. Da-da-da. So we're going to be talking a little bit about something that, as guys, the women want us to understand that we don't get. These are the top 5 things that, as men, we don't understand, and we need to understand, okay? All right, guys, see what you think about this. Number 1, women say that we need to put our feelings down in writing, which means we need to give more cards.
Let's talk about your feelings.
We need to give more cards. Do you spend more than 90 seconds at a time picking out a card? And Travis, don't even.
I think maybe it depends on the occasion. If it's your standard happy birthday, you can pick that out pretty quick. If you've done maybe something wrong, maybe you need to
spend a little more time on it.
Spend a little more time.
What about when it comes to her mom? Do you spend more time picking out cards for that than you do herself?
That's her job.
That's her job. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Joe said that, by the way. Okay.
I'm kind of in agreement with Joe on the mom cards, but Rick, I've got a little beef with this scenario.
You got a beef?
I actually like cards.
Okay, we're gonna go with Travis's beef.
Oh, I hate you. But, no, I mean, okay, I don't like the process of going to the store, buying the card, but I like, putting a little something thoughtful and nice into a card, write a little paragraph, if you will, just saying, hey, whatever needs to be said, get it out there. I'm kind of a sentimental dude, though.
I'm going to text your wife and see if she's listening.
My problem with cards is the fact that, like I said, kind of a sentimental dude, and I tend to keep them. And I never know, which ones to throw away and which ones to keep, as Rick rolls his eyes. Yeah, I know. It's weird. say what you will. Everyone knows what Rick is thinking, but he can't say it. He can't say it.
Hey, I tell you what. Next Monday night, I'm coming over to your house. I want to see your pile of cards.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Also, women say that as guys, we don't understand this. We need to share more. Now, the number one scenario here on this deal was, let's say we go to a restaurant, and like yesterday, we had lunch yesterday. We had the apple cobbler on the plate. None of us
dipped our spoons.
Anytime. Not one of us at any time. I did not take my spoon and go over into Joe's cobbler at any time. My spoon stays on my stuff. My spoon never goes in anything involved with anybody else. But women say that we are supposed to be able to have, enough, assurance about ourselves that we should be able to share our desserts.
I think men are totally wired to be like, this is mine. This is, I own this. This is a possession of mine, this cobbler here. And you know what? Get your spoon out of it, because every time you take a bite out of it, that's one.
Travis is a girly man.
Oh, I will fight you, Will. He's like a veteran.
Yeah.
He's probably.
He would tear me up. He would tear you to pieces.
Well, but nonetheless, every time my wife dips her spoon into my dessert, then it's just like one bite that I don't get.
And but you don't understand. You don't get it. You don't know what's going on there, dude.
Yeah,
that's what women say.
I don't want to share that.
Okay. Also,
it's too precious.
That's the truth. And the price on that stuff. You know why they always push the desserts? Because they're like $500.
Yeah.
That's why they always. You ready for dessert? Because they know that, hey, we spent about 15 cents making this, and we're going to charge you $75 for it. All right, never mind. All right, number 3 on the list. You are being judged by who you talk to and who you hang out with. You will be judged by that.
That's pretty much one of the main reasons why my wife had issues with me doing this show on Saturday mornings. That point exactly right there with you two boys.
So you're being judged because of the company you keep?
Every day.
Every day. Okay, scenario. Let's say you have a
friend. See, you can turn it around on them.
Yeah.
You can turn it around
but
on
it doesn't work.
Well, turn it around on them by just spend more time with them.
Yeah, that works out real well.
Yeah, every time I spend more time with my wife, she always seems to kick me out of either the room or whatever we're doing, and she's like, just go watch TV.
Exactly. And I always love that.
It's good to see Travis's wife has joined us today.
Exactly. I always love the fact that whenever you say something to your wife like, hey, we need to do more stuff together. And she'll come up with okay, then what do you want to do? Everything you come up with is wrong. Yeah. I don't care what it is, No matter what it is, it's wrong. Even if I said, I want to take you shopping, it still's not right.
Yeah, we ran into that a little bit the other day. Had some free time on a Saturday evening or whatever, and it's, hey, let's spend some time together. Let's go do something as a family. And, me as a guy, I'm throwing out, hey, let's go camping. No. Hey, let's maybe let's head up to Wichita or head out to Weatherford. Maybe I don't know if we had enough time, but maybe hit up a Home Depot or an Old Navy or something.
That doesn't work.
No, because I don't want to drive.
Yeah. Well, the other day I brought up the can we go get chicken wings and go to Cabela's? What in the world? I mean, that's family quality romantic time.
Absolutely.
And
one more thing about that is, like, I always feel like, when my wife is like, hey, let's do something together tonight. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. In her mind, in the forefront of her mind, she is just, hoping and wishing that I will say, hey, let's watch Dance Moms together.
Like that's
like that is never going to be said by me.
That's
so just
not even in the top 10,000
about it. No, not a chance.
No way. Also, let's go on down here. We got to keep rolling. Number 4 is that thing women don't understand is that as guys, we don't get the we get the big anniversary thing. We understand the wedding anniversary. Okay, that's brand amount. We understand the birthday. I don't always remember the first date day, or the first day I sent flowers, or the first day we held hands, or the first day I picked her up to go have macaroni. I mean, women say that men need to be more attentive to that stuff.
You never send me flowers anymore, Rick.
You know why? Because when I do, I get we could have bought groceries with that money.
Oh, Rick, send me flowers and a nice, pretty card.
I'm not sending you nothing, Joe. So is that a problem? I mean, should we know the dates of these? I guess you would call them sub-anniversaries.
I think as a guy, and I think as just people in general, there's so many numbers and number combinations that people have to remember these days, from dates of birth, Social Security numbers, credit card numbers, passwords, unlocked passwords, and things like that. I think
shoe sizes.
Well, you just try it on. I think that there's levels of dates that you have to remember. Obviously, wedding. If you're a married guy, wedding is probably number one.
That's the holy grail of dates,
man.
Yeah,
that's the holy grail. And then you step down to level 2, and that's going to be birthdays and dates of birthdays for your kids.
Right.
That's pretty important.
That's a big one.
I think ones below that, I think they're it's a steep cliff. Once you get past birthdays for family members and stuff like that, it just drops off because there's only so many dates a person can remember.
Yeah, but how does it that women can remember those things?
They have a Rolodex, Rick. You realize that,
I guess.
don't you?
My wife can remember the very first date we had, what I was wearing, what we had for dinner, what we did afterwards, the whole shebang. I'm sitting there thinking, it was in February, and I think we had Mexican food. That's about as far as I can go back with that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, just a little side note on this. Never mind.
Okay. All right, last but not least. Women say that men do not understand this. That we should know when we should take charge of things and know when to get out of the way.
Okay, I have some recent experience in this on this one, Rick, and because we just moved.
Right.
And so things have to be set up and put in place. And, and of course the wife is, she says, hey, will you do this? Can you do this? And most of the time I'm like, yeah. And so it gets to the point, though, where you realize she's just asking you if you can hang things up where she wants them, and move things to where she wants them. It's not really putting you in charge of anything. It's basically they think that we don't realize that they're just using our ability to pick up maybe a little bit heavier stuff and maybe, hammer some nails into the wall or, screw some things in that they might not be able to do.
But when you're supposed to be in charge of this kind of stuff, but then whenever you start goofing it up, it's time to lay the hammer down and just sit down.
I think really what they're looking for us to do is it's a coded message. They want us to take charge, but only when we take charge and then turn back to them and see
if we did it right.
No, exactly how should we take the charge? Because if we take charge, no matter what we do, we're not going to do it the way that they wanted us to do it. But yet we're supposed to take the charge. I'm not really sure. I think it's just a mixed message thing.
All right, that's our perfect service announcement for today. What women want. And before we get out of here, I'm sorry, guys, but my wife walked in, and we have to have the wife's perspective on this, okay?
Oh, boy.
All right, we're going to give her the floor, so y'all just hang on just a sec.
Well, let me tell you what I think.
Sorry, we won't have time for that.
Maximize your greatest investment with the best insulation and roofing products available. Texoma Foam Insulation Services offers these benefits of ThermoSeal insulation. Reduce your energy bills. Enjoy cleaner and healthier indoor air. Improve your home's value and enjoy consistent temperatures. To discover more from ThermoSeal Insulation of the Future, call Texoma Foam Insulation Services today at 940-549-3626 or visit their website at texomafoam.com.
It's times like, now that we need to hold on to our vehicles as long as we can. And the Oil Pit has been helping you keep your car or truck for years. Literally. The Hughes family has been working hard to keep your family on the road and safe with oil changes, transmission fluids, and fluid level and tire pressure checks. And that family tradition Tom Hughes started years ago. Stop by the Oil Pit on 4th and Graham or call 940-549-5136.
Now, back to Offsides with Travis, Rick, and Joe on Q94.7.
All right, time to come back and talk a little college football here on your Laker Toledo Q94.7.
Yes, Rick, and thank you very much. Me and Joe are going to get on this college football beat a little bit. First of all, we've got, let's look for some of the best games or some of the most local games. Now, here's one that's interesting. It's your alma mater at, let's see, they're going to be playing
at Georgia.
Playing at Georgia.
Do you believe in the Mean Green?
Do you believe in the Mean Green? That's going to start at about 11:21.
Yeah, that'll be a nice early morning kickoff here. You know, North Texas traveling to Georgia. They seem to do this not nearly as much in the past recent years, but
sure.
I'll tell you, back in my college days, they were the sacrificial lamb for your Oklahomas. I think they played Texas one year, and you know. Unfortunately for those guys, they were kind of the breadwinners for the school, and because of those games and because of the money they got for those games, campus is looking pretty nice.
Sure, and so I mean, as a North Texas alum, now do you get excited about these big football games? Is that something that did you get to see a lot of good teams come into town or anything like that? You know,
North Texas is one of those schools that is a huge commuter school, and
sure.
They've got a great business program. They've got an excellent, just kick it, knock it out of the park music program.
Great journalism school too.
Great journalism, radio, television, and film. But they are a huge commuter school. Being so close to being so close to Dallas and Fort Worth, you know, unlike your SMUs and your TCUs, which are a kind of a destination school. North Texas has a lot of kids that come up from the Metroplex, from in and around Denton and so forth. So it's like a school pride kind of a thing. I don't want to say school pride's not there, but it's definitely not the school that you would think of.
A bit dwindled.
A bit dwindled, exactly.
Okay. Well, let's take a look. Another game. Baylor's playing Louisiana Monroe at 3 p.m. I don't think we have a lot of worries about who will win that one.
No, certainly not. Baylor should handle that easily.
Sure. Here's a good one. Out west, we got Arizona State, the number 23 ranked team in the nation, against number 5 Stanford.
Stanford, I tell you that coming off of a couple of great seasons years ago, and not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken, your 49ers head coach is from there.
Sure.
Kind of put those guys back on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew Luck and Toby Gerhart and all that group, you know, did an excellent job of getting Stanford back in the ball game, and so far that's kind of continued on after Harbaugh left and those guys left. They seem to be able to
keep the ball rolling, keep it rolling.
There you go. There you go. Okay, 6 p.m. Texas A&M or Southern Methodist, SMU at number 10 Texas A&M. I think this would be a good chance for the Aggies to get back on track.
Really, I mean, June Jones has got a great program. He's really turned SMU around. I don't want to say they were a laughingstock by any means, but they certainly were not the contenders that June Jones, coming from Hawaii, has turned them into, has brought the respect level back to SMU.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying SMU can go down to A&M and pull off the shocker, but you know, SMU has got a great program, and I think a lot of that can be attributed to June Jones.
Absolutely. I think he's, done a really excellent job, and he's turned that team into exactly what you would expect to see from a June Jones coach team. Very reminiscent of those Hawaii teams that he coached, where you've just got, the ball being gunned around everywhere and, racking up the passing yards and all that. But, I just think the Aggies will be a little too much for the former Texas quarterback, Garrett Gilbert, who's quarterbacking over there at SMU. Anyways, okay, another game at 6 p.m., Texas State at number 25 Texas Tech.
Wow, get your guns up for this one.
Well, Texas Tech went on to, they beat what's-their-faces the other night, TCU.
TCU, right.
Yeah, and so they're on a high, and Texas State should be a game that they should definitely win. Got themselves back in the top 25, which is, good for Tech. New coach. I mean, I know he's like basically the king down there or up there in Lubbock, I should say.
Out Lubbock way,
Cliff Kingsbury. So they're doing good things down there, and that's a very promising situation for them. Here's another game. let's see a little SEC action. Auburn at number 6 LSU.
I tell you, anytime you get two SEC teams together, you're going to have a big game. Anytime you go down to the Swamp, they've got some pretty good fans, really good tailgating scene down there. So anytime you go down to the Swamp, it's going to be good. I tell you, another game, not to hopefully jump you off track. One of the games I'm really looking forward to is I'm really interested to see what Oklahoma does against Notre Dame tonight.
Absolutely.
Notre Dame is one of those teams, you love them or hate them. It seems like people always want to follow them. And for Oklahoma to go up there, I really like the Oklahoma-Notre Dame rivalry there. And so it'll be good to see how Stoops can go up there and get it done against Notre Dame.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one to watch. You've got at 2:30 p.m., you've got Tennessee at Florida. At 2:30, you also have Michigan State at Notre Dame. So I think maybe your dates were off.
Oh, boy.
But that's okay. That's okay. But, out of those two games, since they're going on at the same time, once again, Tennessee at Florida and Michigan State at Notre Dame, what do you go with there, Joe?
I'd probably go Tennessee, Florida.
Okay.
That's probably the game I'm going to watch. Michigan State, Notre Dame, that's another rivalry up there for those guys.
Sure.
It's right up there with Michigan, Notre Dame, USC, Notre Dame. But I'll probably go Tennessee, Florida in that matchup. And Tennessee, boy, I'll tell you, they just seem to have fallen off the past couple of years. Not to say that they're a bad team. They're just not bringing it like they used to. Tennessee was one of those teams that you always looked for them to jump up and snap somebody once a year, and they just seem to not be doing it.
Yeah, they after just a great history of having great football, they've kind of they've kind of been in flux as far as the coaching situation and just getting organized and having someone there to install their system and keep that person there. Of course, Lane Kiffin really messed them around, so it's been a tough go these past few years for Tennessee. But being where they are and who they are, I don't see any problem for them getting back on track. I think it's just a matter of time.
Do we know where big game Brent's going to be tonight? Looks like he's maybe going to be. Is it K-State at Texas?
I believe so.
K-State at Texas. Oh, boy. Let's talk a little Texas football.
Yeah, that's going to be at 7 p.m.
Yeah, so that's probably big game Brent. At least I hope so. Let's talk a little Texas football. What is
going on there?
Well, I tell you, it seems to be once a week. I'm not a huge Mac Brown supporter by any means, but you do feel a little bit bad for the guy. He knows he's having an off year. He's kind of, I guess the way I look at it is he's made his bed. Now it's time to lie in it a little bit.
Sure.
And the criticism that he's getting is just, I think it's warranted. We've talked for a couple of weeks now. They seem to be paper champions on draft day, and just doesn't seem to be able to get the results on game day. And,
I think just from a very unbiased perspective, I think the game has just kind of gotten by Mac, especially the recruiting game and, the development game has just gotten by Mac a little bit. He's just kind of, I don't want to say he's been too comfortable for too long, but, he's in a really good situation. There's other coaches that are, I guess, hungrier and working their way up. You look at your Art Briles, who's, building a great program over at Baylor, especially offensively. And you look at other coaches that are doing a lot of good things. And, I think Mac is kind of, behind the times a little bit. Maybe it's time for something new there.
Do you think that Texas goes out and makes a splash and tries to get your big name, or do they let Mac kind of drift off into the night and try to just start building a program again?
I don't think Mac's going to be long for the University of Texas. I think they'll put him in some role where he's like czar of, something,
right?
Because that's kind of what they tend to do, is kind of just give people positions just out of, a dedication to them.
But what do? Do they go out and try to get a big name coach, or do they just say, for the next couple of years we're going to bring somebody in and rebuild?
Yeah, I think we'll see. I think they have 4 or 5 names that they really like. Some of those guys you'll have to money whip. Other guys, will just be happy to, be one of the higher paid coaches in the country and have a job like the University of Texas. So we'll just have to wait and see. There's a lot of speculation on a lot of guys, so that'll be fun to find out.
All right, college football wrap-up. We're going to go talk some pro ball, so stick around. You can listen to Offsides here on your Liquor Leader Q94.7.
If creating the perfect outdoor retreat is in your future, then Cornerstone Pools is where you will find design ideas that become reality for your custom gunite pool and spa and outdoor kitchen and living areas, helping you create family fun and memories that last a lifetime. Honesty, integrity, dependability, the cornerstone of everything they do. Call 940-549-9944. Jake Womack Construction Cornerstone Pools, helping you build your dreams.
It's factory authorized clearance month at D&J's Polaris. Now's your chance to save up to $1,000 and receive 2.99% financing through September 30th. Save on Polaris Ranger, the absolute best side-by-side utility vehicles in the industry, or the Polaris Sportsman ATV. It's all waiting for you at D&J's Polaris, Southview at Elm and Graham. Now with up to $1,000 savings and financing as low as 2.99. ATVs and side-by-side vehicles can be hazardous to operate. Polaris adult models for ages 16 and over. Always wear a helmet and be sure to take a training course. Polaris ATVs and side-by-side vehicles are not intended for on-road use. Financing with approved credit.
You're listening to Offsides with Rick, Joe, and Travis on Q 94.7.
All right, time to go back to Offsides here, talk a little pro football, and we're going to be talking a little Rangers here as we've got a little bit of time. Last week, the Dallas Cowboys, the highly taunted Dallas Cowboys and their big-time defense goes into KC, and not bad.
No, defense only gave up 17 points.
I don't have a beef there. My biggest beef comes with the offense of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
So many missed opportunities that could have been there, and I always will, and no matter what anybody says, that something that drove me insane this last week. That I was listening to some of the talk shows. I listened to some on ESPN. I was listening to some on The Ticket. I was listening, and the cowboy, I guess the cowboy sheep, the ones that are just follow blindly and all this kind of stuff. Every one of them was coming back with, well, Romo didn't have time because of the offensive line. Romo couldn't do this because the receivers are dropping passes. Romo couldn't do this. You know what? If you've got $1 billion quarterback and he is with the Dallas Cowboys, you better doggone deliver, buddy.
Rick, do we have any sad music that we can play?
No.
Well, it's been since the middle of the 2006 season. Mm-hmm. That's when I started following Romo, and at first I was kind of skeptical. The guy didn't look phenomenal athletically, but he had a few good games. Threw a lot of touchdowns to Terrell Owens, and that's when I jumped on the bandwagon. Mm-hmm. Not the bandwagon per se, but that's when I got excited about him because I saw a lot of tools that were really good. I think he threw.
He's being awfully calm.
I think he threw 36 touchdowns in his first season. Well, if the sad music was playing, this would be much more dramatic. But you're terrible at preparing a show, nonetheless.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Thank you, Jimmy. Yeah. Thanks, Jimmy. But it's been a long ride, Rick. It's been about, 6-7 seasons.
All right.
But after watching the first two games of this offense, I'm officially putting Tony Romo on notice.
Uh-oh.
He's close to losing my fandom.
We are bringing Travis over to the dark side.
No, it has nothing to do with you. And it will never have anything to do with you, Mr. Rick. But this offense is just stagnant, and they're not doing the right. They're making bad decisions, and they're not doing the right things that help you score points. And it's so obvious.
You got me totally messed up this morning. I was sitting here. I was prepared.
For fire.
I was ready for the fire and brimstone to come flying from that side of the room.
Some friend you are, Rick, because you haven't seen me moping around the halls. We work together, and you haven't seen me moping around the halls just sad all week because of, basically, I don't feel like I can trust Tony anymore. This has been a long relationship where I've always felt like I could trust him as far as doing his job, and I'm afraid that relationship is on the rocks right now.
You know what? You just made Joe Peaks a very happy man.
Yes, I'm sure Joe will have something to say about all this. But there is some good news in Cowboys camp, and I'd like to get to that if we have a moment.
Yes, we do. Nevertheless, good news in Cowboy camp because...
Okay, well, the Cowboys have decided to work out Mr. J.J. Wilcox.
Which is a beast.
At safety. He was I guess a third or fourth round draft pick. I think fourth, actually. I think they got Terrence Williams in the third. Right. Or he was maybe a late third round.
Is he like an Arkansas kind of guy?
He was a late third round. He's from Georgia.
Okay.
He went to college in Georgia at Georgia Southern. Point is, J.J. Wilcox is a guy that I was highly excited about going into the draft. I didn't know if the Cowboys would get him, but this year was a very deep draft class, and he was about my third or fourth safety as I had him down, and right. It was very deep for safeties. It was offensive line and safeties were the big, what everybody was clamoring about going into this draft.
Is that list you showed me at the beginning of the year?
Probably.
Okay.
Could be. Nonetheless, so here's the story on Wilcox. Okay, he's replacing Will Allen, it seems, because for no reason other than they think that J.J. Wilcox can do a better job than Will Allen. Will Allen, we've seen him have some blunders. He had he had Cruz go over the top of him about twice in that Giants game, and he also probably should have been there on that Nick slant that went for about 80 yards. So really, Will Allen has shown that maybe he doesn't have the speed that he once had. And so they're going to get a rookie in there like J.J. Wilcox. Now, here's the report on J.J. Wilcox is he hasn't played the position of safety for very long. Now, I know that scares a lot of people, but he was so high on people's draft boards just based on what he could do physically. He's a fast guy. He's a hard hitter. He will punish you. Coverage, probably in question a little bit because, he's a former linebacker. So that's one thing people are concerned about, and it kind of is reminiscent maybe of a Roy Williams just as far as the scouting report goes. But that being said, in his 1 year to play safety in college, he was a ball hawk. He broke up a lot of passes and did a lot of good things. So I think your high end with him is like one of those, Seahawks safeties that will either break a pass up, get an interception, or punish whoever catches the pass, or he'll be the downside of that is he will end up being a Roy Williams who just can't cover on the back end. But I think I really like this guy, and I think he has all the tools necessary to not only, make the big hits in front of him, but also cover behind him. So this is a guy you should watch out for. Look for him tomorrow, I guess, because he could be a very exciting player.
Yeah, I got Sam Bradford coming in here, so we might see some passing going on as the Cowboys and Rams get together. And, Joe, you take the microphone just a second. Is it my feeling or is it just kind of in the air here that Travis, in so many words, was kind of saying, Rick, you were right?
I didn't so much hear the words, Rick, you were right. But, I kind of don't blame him for his opinion. At some point, you've got to see Romo just step up to the plate of his paper, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always going to be excuses. Listen, every offensive line out there has got issues. You've got receivers that are running wrong routes, but at some point he's got to play to his paper.
Yeah, it's all about money with you two. That's just what I don't understand. It's because,
money and Super Bowls.
Tell me this. If you were the worst quarterback in the world,
yes, and
Jerry Jones said, "Hey, Rick, I want to give you about $50 million over 3 years." Now,
you'd take it in a heartbeat.
You take it. Yeah. So as far as playing to the check, I don't agree with that. I think as a professional athlete or anybody in any profession, you go out and you try to make the most money that you can for what you're doing. Which why am I still at the Graham Leader? No, I'm kidding. But I guess the point is
17 years here.
Yeah,
17 years.
But the point is, Romo has led some very explosive offenses at times when he didn't have the offensive line to protect him and he didn't have a defense that could hold teams down. But so far this season, his play is really bringing me down. He's just not making those kind of plays that I've come accustomed to seeing, and I know that deep down you've seen him make some excellent plays, especially, as far as points are concerned, scoring a lot of points, this team connecting with receivers, giving receivers opportunities in one-on-one situations, and he's just not doing that this year.
Just not getting the job done, so to speak.
But he's just on watch.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Okay,
totally,
what you're doing.
I'm not severing all ties.
You are still on the wagon. You're still on the wagon.
He's on double secret probation.
But you're setting you're kind of like one of them Jeeps with no doors on it. You're sitting there by the opening just in case you got to bail.
No. I'm just maybe okay. Yeah, you're real. I don't really know what you're trying to say, but it kind of feels like
you're getting ready to jump.
Kind of feels like you're taking a shot.
No, not taking a shot. Not taking a shot. Just
Okay.
All I can say is that Travis.
I'm just down right now.
You're a little.
I hate losing.
You hate losing. I know it's a sad situation. All right, let's shift gears just a little bit. Cowboys Rams tomorrow at noontime.
Be a good kickoff. Get home early for church, boys and girls.
That's right. That's when we go to church at 10, so we can get out by 11 something. All right, so make sure that Cowboys Rams tomorrow. All right, shifting gears just a little bit. Texas Rangers.
Wow.
We
were sitting here, Rick. Well, I guess it would have been Friday morning, but sitting here last week, you had the A's coming to town for a 3-game series last week.
You were down by, a half a game or something?
Down by a half a game, maybe a game at the time. Mm-hmm. Really looking for Texas to find that spark that they found a couple weeks ago and went from a 6-game deficit to, I think, leading by 4 or 5 games. I'm not really sure what's happened to the Rangers. They haven't been able to find their hitting. Their pitching, which has been rock solid throughout most of the year, they haven't been able to find that either. And they're staring down the barrel here. I think we can, with only like a week and a half left in the season, maybe 2 weeks left in the season, I think we can kiss the division goodbye, which is kind of sad.
It's done.
But we're also staring down the barrel of being a half game down to...
We are a half game down.
Yeah, getting into the wild card. Now, playing Kansas City this weekend in Kansas City, they trail us by 2 games. So we really need to have a good turnaround. We kind of had the worst of all worlds, I guess, last night when it comes to baseball. You had Texas losing a close one, but you also had Tampa winning one game against Baltimore. Texas lost 2-1 last night. Tampa Bay Rays, which...
But it's the way they lost the game. Bases loaded, walk. Give me a break. That's what blows me away.
4 pitches. 4-pitch walk.
If you're going to lose the game, lose it on a walk-off home run, lose it on a walk-off single or something. But don't lose it by walking in the winning run.
It's so tough. Really, that's so disappointing.
Please.
The only saving grace for this team is that their last 2 series of the season are against the Angels
and the Astros.
I
guess, look at it this way, guys. You got Cleveland, Texas, Tampa Bay. You got 3 teams that are vying for 2 spots.
Right.
Basically, because I don't think, like you say, I don't think the Royals are a factor unless they sweep the Rangers. If they sweep the Rangers in this series, then they're right back in the middle of it. Yankees, 2.5, 3 games back, something like that?
Yeah, they're 2.5 back of us, 3 games back total.
Yeah. So I don't really think the Yankees are going to be that big a deal.
I'll tell you, the team that, I don't want to say they scare me by any means, but
Cleveland,
but just from a spoilage factor, I think Josh coming back to Texas would love nothing more. He's had a bit of a resurgence here lately. He somehow has found maybe what he lost. I'm not sure, but I think that's a series you're going to need to watch because I think from a spoilage factor, the Angels would love nothing more than to come in, maybe win 2 out of 3, maybe even sweep Texas to kick them out of the playoffs this year.
I'm just glad they don't have to finish up with the Mariners.
One thing I'm really worried about is, those pesky Astros. They're only 33 games out of the wild card.
That's all.
You know what? Actually, their winning percentage...
They're playing well these last months.
Their winning percentage would be a really good batting average.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. This is something I was thinking about this morning on the way. They were talking about the A's on the radio. The Oakland A's, one of the best regular season teams in the history of baseball.
I hate the A's.
One of the worst postseason teams in the history of baseball.
Yeah.
They've won one playoff series since 2000.
Yeah. Yeah, but guess what? They're going to keep winning the division if we just let them, and we handed it to them this year. And it's tough when you watch. I'm not going to say I watched every 162 game, but I probably watched 100 or somewhere around there, guaranteed. And it's just tough when you stick with a team all that time, and then they just decide in the month of September
they're done.
Just crash and burn. Right now, they couldn't hit me or Joe on the mound, so it's just a very disappointing time.
You know, last year the talk of why the Rangers were slipping a little bit was, hey, they came off 2 straight World Series. They're tired. Last year they got an early exit, didn't play any playoffs games last year. So you were kind of thinking, hey, they've got their rest, they've got their legs back under them. I think one of the things to watch this week is going to be do the voices start calling to maybe get rid of Ron Washington? Maybe he's lost his touch.
Washington will be the last one to go. I can tell you that right now.
I love Wash.
He'll be the last
Keep
one to
Wash,
go.
but Wash has to stop bunting. But we have to go. We're out of time.
All right, we're out of time. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Big thank you out there to Jake Womack, Coach Womack, for help bringing the oil pit. DJ Polaris, along with Tex Over Foam. We're out of here. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you back here next Saturday for Offsides.
You just experienced Offsides with Q 94.7. Brought to you by Texoma Foam Installation, Womack Construction, D&J's Polaris, and the Oil Pit. Sponsors are not held liable for mental anguish, skin conditions, or any other adverse reactions. We now return to your regular programming.